I'm Kate Hahn with TV Insider, and we're speaking with the cast of The White Lotus Season 2.
Whenever I stay at a White Lotus, I always have a memorable time. Always.
Welcome to the White Lotus in Sicily.
La dolce vita.
You guys are here to learn about your Sicilian roots. Sounds like a fun boys' trip.
Wasn't supposed to be a boys' trip.
We're on a family vacation right now, and it's just the three of us, because all the women in our family hate you.
Please, can we just drop it?
So Jennifer Coolidge and John Grice, you are the OGs of The White Lotus. You are back for Season 2. But this marriage, how's it going? Let's check in with this couple. Jennifer, how's Tanya doing?
I don't know, it's not going that well, but it's all his fault.
Would you agree?
Well, I mean, if you were asking Greg, I don't think that would be the answer, but I think I think at this point, it is a bit Greg's fault right now, yeah. Because she's eager to really engage and have a good time, which is not...
A romantic time.
Time.
His cough is gone, and, your cough is gone, and it's time to, like...
Party.
Yeah, have lots of sex and go to exotic places and
explore Sicily.
Yeah, and drive around on Vespas and yeah.
And Greg's a bit distracted, so it's a little rough.
He's very distracted.
Rough sailing.
He's not very present, and there's nothing worse than, has it ever happened to you where you're on a trip with someone and they're not present? There's nothing worse.
Yeah, no, you're just
punished.
I mean,
you're punished on a
It
daily.
could be a trip to the market, you know. I mean, it's terrible when somebody's not present.
Well, Jennifer, how was it to come back for Season 2? Were you like, wait, this even tops the last location that we were in? I mean, this Sicily location is just incredible.
Yes, it really was. It was. Yeah, that's the one thing. If I would have loved if that everyone that sees this show can eventually make it to Sicily, because there's a whole Sicily is a character itself, and it has this very cool feeling that if you're viewing it, I don't know if you can really, you have to be there to feel it, right? It's just this very mysterious feeling there, the sea with a big, it's such a dramatic background, and then, I don't know, it has a mysterious, it's an ancient place, it has, you feel so much there,
Well, one of the people that she meets at the resort compares her to an operatic character. She's a tragic opera character. Would you agree with that? Do you think that's what Tanya is this season?
Well, I want to be very hopeful for her. It's hard to run away from yourself, and it's hard to, I would say this is a dangerous world, and when you're someone and you're one person alone trying to take on many complicated things around, it's very hard. I mean, I don't know, I have to say this, the loneliest, I had moments on set where I felt the loneliest I ever felt in my life, and that really helped with things. It just, like, the world, and because Sicily is so big, and the rocks and everything, and the hills and everything, it all looks like you're just a little ant, and you can't control sort of the stuff that's lurking around you. You can't really... It's very hard to protect yourself.
Right. Well, Murray Abraham and Michael Imperioli, thank you for speaking with us about The White Lotus Season 2. You play a father and son who go on vacation to Sicily with your son, Michael. And like all family vacations, this one starts to have some conflict. So I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit about what the conflicts are in this intergenerational trip.
Well, the conflicts from my character's point of view are the common conflicts between father, son, and grandson. It's a conflict between generations, and it's fun because it's real and it's true. I'm going to try to stop myself from carrying on about this script because it's so brilliant and it's so much fun to do. I'll just let it go at that.
Okay.
Well, for Dominic, it was kind of doomed before we even got on the plane because it was supposed to be not just the three of us, but also not just my father and son, but also my wife and my daughter, who are not coming because of infidelities that have come to light, that my wife has discovered. So it's already getting off on the wrong foot from the beginning. And it kind of goes downhill for a while from there. But, he's got a lot to reckon with, my character, from right from the beginning here.
He's got a lot to reckon with. Is it in his DNA, though? These guys have both, had their picadillos, as your character calls them, or affairs, and that's hurt both their families. So how does he feel about his dad as this trip goes on?
Well, I think he's really, for the first time, having to be honest with himself about it. So he spending so much time with his dad on vacation, he's remembering the history. And is it DNA? Is it nature or nurture? Is it just learned behavior from watching him? Is it actually programmed into his DNA? He blames him for everything, but he can't really blame him for everything. You know what I mean? There's personal responsibility that I think my character has avoided, and he's forced to address here now in this story.
Well, Murray, your character is awfully fun because he calls himself an 80-year-old flirt, and he's shameless about it. And every single woman who walks crosses his path.
Isn't it embarrassing? I mean, he can't stop himself. But he says it's one of the pleasures of life, Dusty. Flirting is one of the pleasures of life.
And is that fun to play?
Oh, it's more fun than I can tell you. Because I think he gets away with it. Because I think people find him charming in a very strange way, because he does say some outrageous things. But he really got away with it throughout his entire career with his wife, because that was his generation. He can't. We're seeing the split now in generations. What's happening now is she's not going to put up with it now.
Right.
Which they always used to. And it's described very well by my grandson,
Right.
Albie. And we see that split between him and this generation as well. So we're all coming, I guess I'm not finding anything new I'm beyond help. But he isn't, I think. And Albie's learning something too. And I think also what we are discovering is that we each have something to learn from each other. And I think that is so important in this script, where there is more than just a surface little flat story. There's something else going on. And there's a continuum. And there's a possible future for this family together, which I think we're hoping for.
Right, so this trip looking back into their Sicilian past could affect their American future.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So lots of serious stuff going on for you guys, but also some humor too, because Michael, your character has to kind of hide something that he's done. Can you talk about? Did you have kind of fun with that? Like, he has a secret.
Oh yeah, I mean, hiding stuff and hiding a secret, and there's part of the humor of this is like this almost French farce of romantic farce, and these and it's Mike is amazing to be able to put that very kind of almost silly kind of stuff in with some stuff that's so dark, psychological, emotional, close to the bone, and all that. It's really amazing.
So in The White Lotus Season 2, you two play a couple who are maybe not as in love with this resort or this lifestyle as the friends that you're traveling with. So Aubrey, what's Harper's first impression when she shows up at this White Lotus resort?
I mean, I think she's definitely impressed by the resort. I mean, I think that Harper and Ethan aren't actually used to going on these kind of lavish splurge kind of vacations and staying in these like 5-star hotels. So I think she's probably overwhelmed by it, but I think she's definitely impressed by the resort. The couple, not so much. Cameron and Daphne, not so much. She's a little more skeptical about about the couple that they're vacationing with, I think.
Right. They're traveling with Cameron and Daphne, and Cameron is your character's old friend from college, who's quite the alpha guy and competitive with you. So, what kind of history do you two have, and how does that affect the relationship now?
Well, I mean, I almost feel like Ethan hasn't fully thought through how this vacation is going to go. Like, they kind of like almost like geographical friends, as you say, like they happen to share a room in college and they've kind of stayed in touch. It doesn't feel like they're sort of especially close emotionally, but you know, they have ended up on this vacation together almost by mistake. And I guess it does bring out maybe kind of old tensions between them. And also, I think what's really interesting is how for Ethan and Harper, like who have perhaps been existing in a kind of comfort zone for such a long time, being in, first of all, as you say, it's like very alien landscape. It takes them out of their comfort zone in that sense, but also being set against Cameron and Daphne, that also kind of like forces them to, I guess, maybe confront some underlying issues in their relationship and to sort of try and work out who they are as individuals and together as well.
Well, Aubrey, Harper kind of turns into a detective. Like, I know this couple is not as happy and lovey as they pretend they are. So talk to me about that.
Sure. Yeah, well, Harper's a lawyer, you know, and I think so. I think naturally her brain is kind of always analyzing and, you know, criticizing and observing, and she's just, you know, she's very intelligent, her brain, high functioning person. So I think she's constantly absorbing, you know, everything around her. But I think at the root of her skepticism is maybe almost a tinge of, you know, jealousy and insecurity, and she just can't fathom that a couple that appear to be so shallow could be, you know, so happy and well adjusted or something, when, you know, she's got, you know, all the, you know, right answers, but for some reason is not happy, at least in this moment in her life.
Well, they certainly are not at a great romantic place in their relationship. I mean, this is a beautiful, sexy spot in Sicily, and everybody's doing it except them. So what's going on there?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, as we're saying, it sort of feels like we find them in a kind of rut. It's sort of, they tell themselves that they're very honest with each other about everything, but there's almost an unhelpful lack of mystery, and perhaps they're not completely open with each other actually about, you know, the deepest issues that they need to kind of look at directly. And yeah, like you said, I sort of feel like maybe Harper is a little ahead of Ethan for much of the series, both in her detective work as to like what is really going on with Cameron and Daphne and why we even here on vacation with them in the first place, but also maybe in terms of where they're at as a couple. And so, yeah, ultimately, I guess we need to find a way to sort of catch up.
The White Lotus premieres on HBO October 30th. For more insider videos like this, click subscribe.